Imagine the scene. Jerusalem, yesterday afternoon. The sun beats down on the ancient city as Benjamin Netanyahu steps up to the podium. Behind him, the flags of Israel snap in the hot breeze. The world is watching, waiting. But this isn't just another press conference. This is a declaration of war, a diplomatic war aimed squarely at the heart of British politics. Netanyahu doesn't mince words. He accuses the British government, led by Prime Minister Keir Starmer, of siding with terrorists over those who defend civilization. The words hang in the air, heavy and sharp. He speaks of 1,200 hundreds women raped and mutilated, all at the hands of Hamas, the very terrorist Starmer, in Netanyahu's view, refuses to condemn without qualification. Then come the 8 words that ignite the powder keg. We will remember who stood with evil. The room explodes, journalists erupt with questions, cameras flash, the digital world catches fire. Within minutes, the clip is everywhere. CNN, Fox News, even Al Jazeera can't ignore it. It's not just a disagreement, it's a public execution, and Starmer is the victim, bleeding out for all to see. But how did we get here? To understand the magnitude of this diplomatic earthquake, we need to rewind 3 days. A routine phone call, a conversation that was supposed to be about regional stability and diplomatic pleasantries. Instead, it became a lecture. Starmer, according to Israeli sources, spent 11 minutes lecturing Netanyahu on proportionality, international law, and Israel's moral obligations. His tone condescending, almost professorial. Imagine Netanyahu on the other end of that line. His face hardening, jaw clenching, knuckles white as he grips the phone. He doesn't take it lying down. He interrupts Starmer with a question that changes everything. Prime Minister, whose side are you actually on? Silence. 14 seconds of deafening silence. Starmer fumbles, stammers, offers a non-answer about British values and regional peace. Netanyahu has heard enough. He ends the call, no pleasantries, no future promises, just a dial tone. This is the backdrop to Netanyahu's fiery press conference. But the fallout goes far beyond a simple diplomatic spat. It tears at the very fabric of British society, exposing fault lines that have been simmering beneath the surface for years. Consider Sarah Goldman, a 63-year-old grandmother from North London. She hasn't worn her Star of David necklace outside her home in 18 months. She hides her identity when she walks to the shops. Her grandchildren ask why they can't wear their kippas on the bus anymore. What kind of Britain have we created, she asks, where Jewish children must hide who they are? Sarah's story is not unique. Synagogue attendance is down. Jewish families live in fear. They've been spat on, threatened, chased. Videos circulate online showing Jewish students being harassed at British universities. An elderly man beaten unconscious outside a kosher restaurant. And what does Starmer do? He marches with pro-Palestinian protesters who chant for intifada, a word synonymous with armed uprising and the deaths of thousands. He condemns Israel 47 times, but struggles to condemn Hamas without caveats. While British Jews board up their shops and hire private security, Starmer's government sends lawyers to the International Criminal Court to support arrest warrants against Israeli leaders. The leaders fighting the very terrorists who started this war. It's a contrast so sickening, so morally bankrupt, that even lifelong Labour voters are turning away in disgust. Rabbi Jonathan Goldstein of Manchester sums it up. For the first time in my 40 years in Britain, I'm considering leaving. Not because of the anti-Semites, they've always existed, but because my own government won't defend us. But just when you think the situation can't get any more explosive, something unprecedented happens. King Charles, the usually reserved and diplomatic monarch, breaks protocol in a way that sends shockwaves through Westminster. At Thursday's reception for Commonwealth leaders, the king makes a beeline for the Israeli ambassador. 23 minutes. That's how long Charles spends in private conversation, longer than anyone else, longer than protocol dictates, longer than his advisors recommend. Imagine the scene. Charles, leaning in, listening intently. A monarch trained from birth to reveal nothing, now displaying what insiders describe as unusual emotion. A senior courtier, risking everything, leaks the bombshell. His Majesty was deeply moved by the ambassador's account of the lack of British support. Then comes the real shocker. Charles Charles authorizes a formal statement expressing the royal family's continued friendship with the Jewish community and the state of Israel. Our enduring bond, the statement reads, diplomatic dynamite. A direct contradiction of Starmer's government and a constitutional crisis erupts. The crown has always stood with those who defend civilization against barbarism. The words reverberate through Westminster. Royal protocol shattered. Centuries of precedent up in flames. Charles has chosen a side, and he's done it in the most public way imaginable. Professor David Reynolds calls it the most overtly political act by a British monarch since 1936. The optics are devastating for Starmer. When your own king publicly undercuts your foreign policy, you're not just isolated, you're finished. The markets react with brutal efficiency. The pound plummets, British defense contractors lose billions, the political fractures widen. Dame Priti Patel calls for emergency debates in Parliament, accusing Starmer of disgracing Britain, alienating allies, and endangering British Jews. Social media explodes. Stop Starmer trends globally. A petition demanding his resignation gathers hundreds of thousands of signatures in hours. Street protests erupt. Not just the usual suspects, but ordinary British families waving Union Jacks and Israeli flags, demanding their government stop betraying British values. Military veterans march. Holocaust survivors speak. Jewish and Christian communities stand together. The polls tell a grim story for Labour. Starmer's approval rating collapses. In crucial swing constituencies, support vanishes. Inside number 10, it's complete chaos. Ministers are at war, splitting into pro-Israel and pro-Palestine factions. David Lammy and John Healey have a shouting match so heated, security almost intervenes. WhatsApp groups buzz with desperate messages. The PM has lost his mind, one MP writes. We can't survive this. Another says, Angela's ready. Angela Rayner, the deputy prime minister, hasn't defended Starmer in days. She's conspicuously absent, dodging interviews, staying silent while her boss burns. The question isn't if they'll move against him, but when. But here's the twist. The layer that could trigger complete governmental collapse. Leaked documents from the Foreign Office reveal secret meetings between senior labor officials and Qatar-based Hamas representatives. 4 times since October 7th, the meetings allegedly discussed using British influence to pressure Israel into premature ceasefires. One document apparently shows direct communication between a Labor foreign policy advisor and a Hamas official designated as a terrorist. If these documents are real, then Starmer didn't just criticize Israel, he actively coordinated with designated terrorists to undermine Britain's historic ally. British citizens were being held hostage in Gaza tunnels. Think about the implications for British credibility, for British security relationships, if the Prime Minister secretly conspired with the same organization that and kidnapped innocent civilians, then he's potentially engaged in activities that border on treason. Foreign Office insiders are reportedly preparing to testify before Parliament. The scandal could explode within days. Meanwhile, Nigel Farage is circling. He holds a rally in Birmingham that draws 12,000 people. Police have to close surrounding streets. Farage delivers what observers call the speech of his lifetime. While the Prime Minister bows to terrorists, Reform UK stands with civilization, he declares. While Labour betrays our allies, we honor our commitments. The crowd roars, chanting, Farage for PM. His message resonates far beyond his traditional base. He's winning over Jewish voters, defense hawks, even socially conservative Muslims. The polls now show a 3-way dead heat. Conservatives at 29%, Labour at 28%, Reform UK at 26%. For the first time, Farage isn't a protest vote. He's a legitimate prime minister in waiting. The clock is ticking. Monday arrives and Westminster braces itself. Parliament is a pressure cooker about to explode. The emergency debates are set to begin, and every MP knows this could be a career-defining moment. Backbench Labour MPs are sharpening their knives, drafting no-confidence motions designed to inflict maximum pain. Conservative leaders, sensing blood in the water, are preparing to unleash a barrage of questions at Prime Minister's questions. Questions meticulously crafted to dismantle Starmer piece by piece. The rumor mill is working overtime. 3 more cabinet resignations are set to be imminent. Names are whispered in hushed tones in the corridors of power and the smoky pubs of Whitehall. But nobody dares to confirm anything until those fateful letters are delivered. A simultaneous act of political rebellion designed for maximum impact. King Charles's unprecedented intervention has emboldened those who believe Starmer has crossed a line, violated constitutional norms that no prime minister should ever dare to breach without facing the consequences. The nation is watching its government tear itself apart in real time, a spectacle of political self-destruction, while enemies abroad celebrate British weakness and allies question whether Britain can still be trusted. This crisis will be dissected for decades to come, a case study in how a British prime minister chose ideological purity over national interests and ultimately paid the ultimate political price. At the eye of the storm stands Keir Starmer, looking increasingly isolated, increasingly desperate, and increasingly like a political force on the verge of collapse. But the Hamas connection, that's the real ticking time bomb. If those leaked documents are authentic, if they reveal a secret back channel between labor officials and designated terrorists, then this isn't just a political scandal. This is potentially a matter of national security, a betrayal of everything Britain stands for. Imagine the scenes in Parliament as those documents are laid bare. The accusations, the denials, the furious shouting matches, careers ending in disgrace, reputations shattered beyond repair, criminal investigations launched, potentially reaching the highest levels of government. Foreign Office insiders, terrified but determined, are reportedly preparing to testify before Parliament, demanding whistleblower protection to shield them from prosecution. Some are already meeting with lawyers, bracing themselves for the legal and political battles that lie ahead. And then there's Nigel Farage, the master opportunist, seizing the moment with ruthless precision. His Reform UK party is surging in the polls, attracting disaffected voters from across the political spectrum. His rallies are becoming massive displays of populist fervor, fueled by anger, frustration, and a deep-seated belief that Britain has lost its way. Farage's message is simple, but powerful: strength, patriotism, and unwavering support for Britain's allies. He paints Starmer as weak, indecisive, and dangerously out of touch with the concerns of ordinary people. He positions himself as the only leader who can restore Britain's standing in the world and protect its citizens from the threats of terrorism and extremism. The political landscape is shifting beneath our feet. The old certainties are crumbling, the traditional party allegiances are dissolving, and in the midst of this chaos, a new force is emerging, a force that could reshape British politics for generations to come. Is this the end of Keir Starmer's career? Has he fatally miscalculated, alienating key allies and betraying the values that once defined his party? Or can he somehow pull off a miracle, unite his fractured party, and regain the trust of the British people? Did King Charles save Britain's honor with his unprecedented intervention? Or did he overstep his constitutional boundaries, setting a dangerous precedent for future monarchs? And could Nigel Farage actually become the next Prime Minister of Great Britain after this explosive disaster?